Hey guys, today I am going to show you how to make super simple homemade almond milk, and trust me when I say this, once you've tried this at home, you probably won't go back to the grocery store kind, except for the fact that it's super convenient. So the reason why you would want to make homemade nut milk is because those that you find in the store often have a lot of different kinds of thickeners, or as you may recognize them, gums. They're not necessarily unhealthy, but if you have a sensitive GI tract, it can lead to different GI symptoms like bloating, some gassiness over time, and if you use a lot of these things in your day. And honestly, the taste of homemade almond milk is to die for. It is so decadent, so good, and if I'm being honest, I don't make it all the time, but when I do, it's definitely a treat. So, all you're going to do is soak your almonds or nuts ahead of time. So I have some almonds that I've soaked here for about 8 hours. If you were soaking cashews, you would only need to soak them for about 4 hours. You could do macadamia nut. You can really try anything you want to be creative with in the kitchen. So the basic formula for nut milk is 1 part nuts to 3 to 4 parts of water, depending on how decadent and thick you want the final milk texture. So I typically do between 3 and 4, usually 3.5 cups of water. Obviously, the more water you add to it, the more milk you're going to end up with. The less water you add, the more thick and creamy it's going to be, but smaller quantity of milk. So all you're gonna do is add the almonds to your blender. And then for a really basic recipe, all you would do is add your almonds, water, and a pinch of salt, and you're good to go. Today, I'm gonna make it a little bit sweet by adding a medjool date. I love using dates as sweetener because it's just a fruit. It hasn't been processed at all, and it adds a really nice, almost caramel-like sweetness to the milk. You could use maple syrup if you wanted to, or honey. You could also add different seasonings like vanilla extract, vanilla bean, cinnamon. You can make a golden milk and do some turmeric and ginger in there. You can really be as creative as you want. So I added a pinch of pink Himalayan salt, and then I'm going to add my filtered water to the blender. So next, I'm just gonna blend this for about 30 seconds, a minute or so, just to get it really nice and creamy and ground up. And then I'm gonna show you how to take it from almond milk gritty pulp to super creamy, decadent almond milk. Alright, so the reason why you would use soaked nuts instead of just plain raw out of the fridge is because soaking them does 2 things. 1, it helps soften the nuts so you get a really nice creamy texture, and it also helps release the phytic acid, making it a little bit easier to digest. So you want to make sure you really pay attention to the soaking time of nuts and soak them accordingly. So the harder the nut, the more full of protein, less fat, like almond, the longer it's going to take. The softer the nut, like cashews or macadamia nuts, you're not going to need as long of a soaking time. I have here is a nut milk bag. You can get them on Amazon for like $12. They're completely worth the investment. You can also use cheesecloth, which I've done before, but honestly, it gets really messy and it doesn't work nearly as well as a nut milk bag. And if you have my book, you can also use the nut milk bag for homemade green juices. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. So what we're gonna do is pour the almond milk mixture into our bag, and what the bag does is it helps strain out the fibers from the almond, leaving behind an almond pulp and giving you a really nice, smooth, creamy almond milk texture. So all I'm doing here is just gently squeezing the almond milk bag to get as much of that almond milk out as I can. I'm using a little bit of a smaller bowl than I normally would, but I wanted it to be a clear bowl so that you could really see what's happening here. So you just want to squeeze out as much of the liquid as you can. And you can save the almond pulp. So you can add it to oatmeal, you can add it to baked goods, you can dehydrate it in the oven, or if you have a dehydrator, and grind it up in a blender and have almond flour. I've tried this as well. It doesn't work quite as well as the almond flour you get in the grocery store, but if you're big on no waste, there is definitely ways to use the almond pulp. So that's about all I'm gonna get out of there. So as you can see, it's really creamy, super decadent. I promise you, you won't go back after trying this homemade almond milk. And you can flavor it however you like. You can add some cocoa powder to there and make a chocolate almond milk. You can add berries and make an antioxidant rich almond milk. Really play around with it and make it your own and make it fun. So hopefully you enjoyed this demo, and until next time, happy cooking.